Hi everyone! So if you've been following this channel for any length of time, you've probably caught on to the fact that I'm a masochist and I love watching content that makes me want to rip my hair out. So yes, I am a semi-regular listener of the Blaire White project. I gotta give her credit for the name, it's clever. I mean, the Blair Witch Project was a terrible movie, but I like a good play on words. Anyway, we're gonna be reacting to a recent episode titled Dragging the Fat Positivity Movement with HRH Collection. A more accurate title would be Degrading Fat People and Poor People with the Most Vapid Bitch on YouTube. If you think I'm being harsh for calling her a vapid bitch, trust me, it's deserved. Let's get into it.
So I found out about you because I was literally at like 1 in the morning walking past this gay club, and this gay guy comes out of the club and he's like, Blaire, and he stops me. He was a fan of my channel and he was like, literally, you need to do a collab with HRH Collection. And I was like, what the fuck is the HRH Collection? I was thinking like, is that H3H3? Right. What is that? Like, what is that? And then I went home and looked you up, and I think I just clicked the wrong video or something where it was like literally nothing like anti-woke, nothing like political, whatever. And I was like, how am I similar to her? Because he was saying you guys are so similar. So then I watched a few more and I was like, oh, no, wait, we're actually very similar. Very outspoken. So how did you start your channel? And can you just like describe like your vibe and like everything you do?
I don't know. I think it was like during the pandemic. I've always been kind of outspoken and stuff. But then like when the pandemic happened, I just kind of like erupted. And I was like, what the fuck is this fucking crap? What is this bullshit? Why is everyone just like following like whatever the government said? Like they're like, oh my God, yes, sir. Like no one was questioning anything. And if you questioned anything, you were like immediately labeled as who knows, whatever they want to label you as. And I was so sick of it. Living in LA, it was just so gross. So I started calling it out, and slowly but surely people started like agreeing with me. They may not have liked my delivery or whatever, but they're like, she's actually right, you guys. So that's kind of how like this whole me being like anti-woke, speaking out started.
Right. Yeah, I relate to that because it's like I have an aggressive way of like saying what I say, but at the end of the day, it's like, what am I really saying that's wrong? You know what I mean? Like I know that I come across like a little bit foul, but so that's why I related to you. I was like, okay, totally. I get it. Like she's just very outspoken and like she might yell, but like that's fine. Wait, so you lived in Los Angeles during the pandemic and you still live there now?
No, so I lived there. I was living in Brentwood, and basically at the end of 2020, I was like, I'm done with this. I cannot live here anymore. These people are so stupid. Like walking around outside with masks on, like getting in fights with people if I didn't have a mask on, if I wasn't 6 feet away, like people in cars, they're driving their masks on. Like I was just so sick of seeing this, like the overrun of like homeless people. Like no one's saying anything. Like people are like, oh my God, it's compassionate. Just leave them alone. Like, what are you talking about? It's not compassionate to let people kill themselves on the street. Like that's actually not compassionate. And I was just so sick of this like retardation. Like what the fuck are these people's problems? Like there's something, you are sick. You're a sick individual if you can't question what the fuck is going on here. But I moved. I ended up moving to Newport. I live here now, but I still have my jewelry line in downtown. So I commute like 3 days a week. So that's what I'm doing.
Okay, so there's a few things I want to address here. First of all, anti-maskers have the maturity of a fucking 2-year-old child. I wasn't gung-ho about masks, but I was willing to put up with a minor inconvenience for the sake of protecting vulnerable people from a deadly virus. To her comment about people wearing masks alone in their cars, they probably just drove out of the parking lot and forgot to take it off. Chill. Lastly, this idea that people who comply with the CDC guidelines are mindless sheep who don't question anything is such a baseless assumption. They talk about homeless people more in a bit, so I'll save my comments on that.
If you go back to LA now, the vibe is off. Like LA is not what it used to be. It's dirty, it's disgusting. The vibe, the energy is like there's something missing, and I don't miss it. Like I went there yesterday to get my lips done, and I was like near Rodeo. It's like a ghost town. It's like bad vibes. I don't like anything about it. Like there's no restaurants open. They're all like closed and dark, and it's just weird.
It's because even Beverly Hills, like you're talking about the homeless shit, and it's like even in Beverly Hills, I remember like towards the end of me living there, it's like they were creeping their way into Beverly Hills, like the park. I'm like, how is there homeless people in the park in Beverly Hills? Like usually it's like, you know, not to sound crazy, but like they stay around downtown or Hollywood or West Hollywood, but like Beverly Hills was fucking crazy.
Right in front of like that beautiful big like Beverly Hills sign. They just camp out there, they sleep there. I mean, come on. Like, is there nowhere that's sacred anymore? You have to let people just be degenerates everywhere now. Like these homeless people have chosen to not be a part of a civil society. That was their decision to be to choose that life, okay, to do the drugs, choose that life, and now we have to like live around that filth. I'm sick of it. No, I won't, and I will talk about it. It's disgusting.
It's people like her, not homeless people, who I would describe as LA trash. Wealthy, materialistic, shallow, out-of-touch NIMBYs. I was on my way to get my lips done the other day, and these filthy, degenerate homeless people, like, totally killed my vibe. The epidemic of homelessness in America is a symptom of a structural problem. Homeless people themselves are not the problem. People who think poverty is caused by bad decisions and poor money management don't understand the psychology of poverty, and they don't realize how expensive it is to be poor. Late fees on top of late fees on top of your car breaking down because you couldn't afford regular maintenance. Not to mention, a lot of money-saving tips, such as buying in bulk, require you to have enough money up front. Or they require time, which you don't have because you're already working 2 jobs. She says they chose this life because they chose to do drugs, as if wealthy people don't do drugs. Addiction is largely caused by stress. Add financial stress on top of other stressors, and you can see why so many poor people fall into addiction. Addiction can certainly lead to homelessness, but it's not the primary cause. Homelessness is the result of a lack of affordable housing, which is caused by capitalism. Wages have stagnated because business owners are incentivized to pay their employees as little as possible to increase profits. Meanwhile, wealthy people buy up all the property and then raise rents to turn a profit. What happens when rent goes up year after year, but wages don't? More evictions. They're creeping their way into Beverly Hills because NIMBYs keep voting against zoning laws that would allow for affordable housing units to be built, because they care more about their property values than the needs of other people. This leaves more homeless people with nowhere to go. And then they have the audacity to complain about these filthy degenerates obstructing their view of the big, beautiful Beverly Hills sign.
That's also like low-key how I knew COVID like wasn't that big of a deal, because I'm like, okay, so when you live in Hollywood long enough, you recognize the homeless people because like they stay homeless like the whole time you're living there. So like I lived there for like 5 or 6 years, and it's like the same homeless people I saw year 1 are the same ones I saw like year 6, right? And I'm like, how are none of them dying? Like if these are the people living in the most unsanitary conditions, not that I wanted them to die, but like if these are the people,
and during COVID, none of them were dying either, and that should have been the first thing.
Exactly. It's like if the people in our population in the most unsanitary conditions, especially in LA, on the streets of LA, are not dying from COVID, then how am I supposed to literally sit here and like be shook in my apartment and like not want to leave because COVID is just so scary? It's like all the homeless people are still running amok. So what's the actual?
Right.
Blaire's level of intellect is astonishing. I recognized a few homeless people on the streets, so therefore, COVID isn't killing homeless people. Do I even need to respond to this? It reminds me of Andrew Tate claiming that women are bad drivers. It didn't take a genius to explain that his personal experience is not evidence of a broad trend.
Wait, so are you like anti-homeless? Because I did get like, we're gonna get to the fan Q&A, but there were a few like, is she anti-homeless?
Yes, okay, yes, I'm anti-homeless. Who the fuck is, like, I'm pro-homeless people. If you, that fucking bitch asked that fucking question, bitch, okay, no. I'm not anti-homeless. Actually, I'm the compassionate one, because if you were compassionate, you would vote to have them rounded up and forced to clean up. That is compassion, not letting them kill themselves on the street. It's always some stupid moron who doesn't live in LA, who probably lives somewhere like in the middle of Iowa in like a cornfield.
In a suburb, girl.
Right, somewhere rural. You've never seen this. Come to LA and see how they're killing themselves. They've got gangrene legs, like pus coming out of them. Yeah. They are like zombies. They're aggressive. They're entitled. They're scary. This is not compassion.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse. I don't know what exactly she means by they should be rounded up and forced to clean up. Forced to clean up the city, like pick up trash? Or forced to clean themselves up, like get sober? If she meant the former, she's literally advocating for slave labor. Yikes. But if she meant the latter, she clearly doesn't understand how addiction recovery works. You can't force someone to get sober. Not that it matters, my critique would still stand if I lived in a cornfield, but I live in downtown Denver. I see homeless people every time I walk my dog or run an errand. I interact with them all the time, and with or without my dog, I've never felt threatened. That's not to say there aren't violent homeless people out there. Of course there are. But to characterize homeless people as aggressive, scary zombies is so dehumanizing. She claims they're entitled. I swear to God, I could make an entire video on how conservatives don't understand what entitlement is. Let's look at the definition of entitlement, shall we? Believing oneself to be inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment. Homeless people asking for money is not entitlement, it's desperation. Things like food, housing, and healthcare are basic human rights, not privileges or special treatment. This is entitlement.
I think it is so disgusting if you have like cheap Ziploc bags or like cheap Tupperwares, like dirty Tupperwares or like old Tupperwares or like really cheap Tupperwares. Like, oh my God, like I won't even eat it. I won't eat it. I won't. Like, I could have cut up every, like perfect cut up fucking whatever vegetables in it. If the container is ugly, it's just gonna rot. I'm not gonna use it, okay?
Anyway, back to Blaire.
100%. And like, I just love how you say shit because yeah, like you're coming across very aggressive, but at the end of the day, like you're correct in the sense that it's not the compassionate answer to sit there and let them rot as if they're not even human. It's like the people who, like, I remember like every time there's like the Oscars or like an award show, it's like LA finally decides to clean up because like the streets are going to be on camera, which is so like disgusting. That's the only reason they do it.
Right.
But you know, it's like that's not the compassionate thing to let them sit there and waste away as if they're like a stray dog or something. Like, so it's like anyone who says
wouldn't even do that if we saw these crazy woke fucks, if they saw a dog living like that, they would take it into their arms or whatever and put it in the shelter for it to be safe. But you won't do that for a human. You're telling me I'm like anti-homeless? Yes, I'm anti people being homeless and shitting on the streets, living on the streets and killing themselves. 100%. Yes, I'm anti that.
Blaire is spinning this around as if the people who are supposedly pro-homeless are advocating that we just leave them alone and not address the problem at all. No, Blaire, we're advocating for public housing. And in the meantime, we're advocating that we treat homeless people with respect rather than denigrate them. Their solution is to just put them in a shelter. Have you thought that maybe there isn't enough space in homeless shelters because homelessness is a growing problem? I wonder how Alex would feel if the city built a homeless shelter with her tax dollars right next to her jewelry store. Oh no, 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 get these filthy degenerates away from here. She says she's not anti-homeless, she's anti-homeless people shitting in the streets. So Alex, if a homeless person came into your shop and politely asked if they could use your bathroom, would you let them? I fucking doubt it, bitch. Your bitch ass would tell them, bathrooms are for customers only. Are you starting to see the problem here? There are a growing number of homeless people, yet there are limited homeless shelters and limited public bathrooms. Where are they supposed to shit? This problem is virtually non-existent in Finland because of their housing first policy. As of 2022, there are around 4,000 homeless people in the entire country of Finland, with a population of 5.5 million. Contrast that with the nearly 70,000 homeless people living in LA with a population of 10 million. You know what's holding us back from implementing a similar housing first policy? Dumbasses like y'all who fearmonger about socialism and perpetuate the narrative that homeless people chose to be homeless. Dehumanizing them results in deprioritizing policies that would actually help them.
And isn't it so interesting how, like, you know, a woke, like, white liberal mother will come up to you screaming about not wearing a mask, but like she won't go up to the homeless person. You know what I mean? She wouldn't dare.
Yeah. But that's funny. She should come up to me that because I will be insane. Okay, come up to me and try me, and I will fucking be insane. You will be sorry for doing that to me. They were so sorry for doing that to me in Brentwood.
Maybe it's because you're deliberately being stubborn and careless and putting other people at risk, whereas the homeless person shitting in the street is a victim of structural violence. I feel like most Karens would deny that they're a Karen, but Alex seems to be an out and proud Karen. It's wild. And now we move on from degrading poor people to degrading fat people.
So we need to talk about fatties because you're very honest on your channel about like, you know, you give skinny tips. That was a big one people were asking was like, please have her give us skinny tips. Like you're very honest about the fat acceptance movement. So what are your feelings about the fat acceptance movement?
So I am allowed to speak of this because I was fat previously. I call it the fat gene. Like it takes a lot of effort for me to not be fat. So people have been watching me for 10 years or so. They know I was fat. I lost weight. Like, so anyone who has any questions about me saying something about fat people, yes, I can talk about it because it's coming from damn experience. It's laziness and bad decisions. That's all it is. This crap now about like uplifting the people who are fat or like putting them on a pedestal or saying they're beautiful. No, they're not. You guys are lazy, unhealthy. It's detrimental to society. You're lying to them. They're miserable. And this is coming from a place that I can speak of because I was once fat. Okay.
How fat were you?
And I was like 185 pounds.
And how tall are you?
5'6".
Yeah. So that's like that. Yeah, that's fat.
It's fat. Okay, let's get over it. Like, it's fucking fat. Okay. And I'm so sick of people. It's not like Tess Holiday fat. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's fat. By the way, she's anorexic, which is insane to me.
When she came out as anorexic, I was like, bitch, maybe you should be. I mean, that sounds crazy, but maybe you should be.
It's crazy. Like, I honestly cannot stand this craziness anymore. Like, I'm sick of it. It makes me sick.
What are your top 3 tips for being skinny?
Okay, top 3 tips for skinny is 1,200 calories a day only, and like document every single thing you eat. Don't eat after 8. And download the Lose It app.
The Lose It app. Okay.
The Lose It app. It's like the one that tracks all of your calories and everything, but like it just keeps you so accountable.
Okay, all the fatties in the chat, download Lose It.
They won't. They won't. They won't.
They won't.
They'll always be fat. They'll always be fat.
Listen, I am not one to promote health at every size. I have made several videos critiquing this concept. It's a scientific reality that carrying excess body fat for a prolonged period of time is not healthy. However, I don't think it's fair to blame individuals entirely when we live in an extremely obesogenic environment created by capitalism. Considering the majority of the country is now overweight, you can't just chalk it up to laziness. Human nature hasn't changed. Our food environment has changed. In such a toxic food environment, it requires quite a bit of effort to lose weight. You could argue that people who lose weight in the face of so many obstacles are exceptionally diligent. I don't think it's fair to characterize everyone who isn't exceptionally diligent as lazy. Also, certain approaches to weight loss require more effort than others. You could argue that it's more about shifting priorities and educating yourself about nutrition, rather than mustering up a bunch of willpower all the time. The reason so many people fail to lose weight is not for lack of trying, but because they're trying so many stupid diets. It's not laziness, but a lack of proper knowledge. And that lack of knowledge is caused by food and diet industry propagandists muddying the waters and confusing people. Regarding priorities, you could argue that some people struggle with their weight because they work so hard in other areas of their life. There are a lot of angles to this. People have different experiences and carry extra weight for different reasons. But excess body fat is rarely attributable to laziness. Given Alex's approach to weight loss, I understand why she associates being fat with being lazy. She thinks periodically starving herself is the only way to stay skinny, which requires a lot of restraint. When she fails and gains a bit of weight, she denigrates herself as fat and lazy, and then starves herself again. Here's a clip from the channel This Is for Eileen, showcasing her problematic relationship with food.
So Alex, in many of her videos, has shared that she was previously very overweight. She was able to lose this weight by maintaining a heavy, strict caloric deficit, stating that she didn't eat over 1,200 calories a day, and most days trying to eat below 1,000.
Try to go under 1,200 calories if I can.
Obviously, this is extremely unhealthy depending on your body composition, and it's not something you want to suggest to your impressionable audience. So Alex doesn't suggest it. She just screams it at them.
It's all about the fucking calories, bitch.
In her diet videos, Alex screams restrictive dieting advice that leaves dietitians shivering in their seats and the dead ones rolling in their graves. She praises going to sleep hungry.
Is to go to bed hungry. You can wake up in the morning feeling like really hungry, and I could feel like my bones, which I love, when I don't wake up feeling like that, I feel like I know I ate too much.
She recommends making up for going over your calorie goal through intensive cardio or extra restriction the next day.
Just because you feel sorry for yourself doesn't mean that it's gonna go away. You did damage, so make sure you fucking do something to get that, to rectify that damage. Yeah, go on a run. Yeah, tomorrow be way better, probably eat less. I mean, yeah, that's what you should do.
And she promotes a very unhealthy relationship with food that is very reminiscent of, well, the comments say it all.
You shouldn't be eating anything after 8. Like, just shove your mouth full of lettuce if you have to. Like, no, you shouldn't eat anything.
And here are a few clips from a video on her channel titled Skinny Fridge Tour, where she gives tips on how to get back on track after the holidays.
My skinny fridge is this. I don't eat meals, okay? I don't eat meals, and then throughout the day, I'm at home, but when I'm home, it's like you graze, right? So this is what I do. I have a lot of things that I can pick at that are basically 0 calories, okay? Then of course, fruit, you fat fuck, okay? Fruit, no. Did you notice, have I shown you any fruit? No, I have not. We're not eating fruit. Fruit is very fattening. You don't just, if you just like pick up an apple, it's like, sometimes depending on how big those apples are, it can be like 200 calories. Like it's more than that even. It's a lot, like there's a lot of sugar in fruits, so they are fattening.
It's clear that Alex is waist deep in toxic diet culture. Just because a certain approach works doesn't mean it's a good approach. Going to bed hungry, fearing fruit, and snacking on low-calorie condiments in place of meals is definitely entering disordered eating territory. To their comment about Tess Holliday, I'm no fan of Tess Holliday. I don't think she meets the diagnostic criteria for anorexia, not even atypical anorexia. But I don't think it's cool to suggest that maybe she should try it. Alex says fat people are miserable. A lot of people who have lost weight speak about how much better they feel. The consequences of obesity, like joint pain and sleep apnea, don't sound fun. But Alex's relationship with food sounds pretty miserable to me as well. It doesn't have to be this way. You can have a healthy relationship with food and maintain a healthy weight. Fat acceptance advocates will often label sensible weight loss advice as diet culture and disordered eating. They claim that calorie counting is inherently problematic and discourage people from pursuing weight loss. This is the pendulum swinging in the opposite direction. But it's people like Alex who initiated that pendulum swing. I agree with fat acceptance advocates when they talk about social stigma and discrimination. People like Alex, who refer to fat people as a burden to society, demonstrate a need for that discussion. Lastly, I want to talk about how fucking annoying it is when people who don't actually care about health pretend to care about fat people's health. A recent example being Jordan Peterson, a man who only eats steak, going on a tirade about a plus-size model on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Like, sir, you are probably in worse health than this woman you're insisting is not beautiful. Stop using health concerns as a shield for your bigotry. I genuinely care about public health and nutrition, which is why the pseudoscience coming out of the fat acceptance movement bothers me so much. But Alex is purely motivated by aesthetics, and has openly stated that she doesn't care about other health markers.
I think I just look, well, but first of all, I've eaten today, so there's like this right here. We usually would go in more. Do we love it? Am I like so much skinnier? But yeah, so I just want to show you guys that. I'm talking about shedding weight. I'm not talking about like heart health. I'm not talking about like liver health. I'm not talking about child health. I'm talking about getting weight off, okay? Like just shut up. And when I say healthy, I'm not talking about, am I talking about that, oh, you guys, I am looking after my cholesterol and my, I don't know what the fuck it is. I'm talking about calories, low calories. Get the fuck off my page if you're a nutritionist. I don't like you. Get off. You don't get it, okay? I'm sick of your comments. No one cares. You're probably ugly. You don't have a vibe, and I don't care what you have to say.
She vilifies healthy foods like avocado, fruit, and peanut butter. Yet she semi-regularly eats fast food, claiming that it doesn't matter where your calories are coming from. A calorie is a calorie.
I still go to like In-N-Out. I still go to like, you know, Mexican and stuff like that. But like I make sure that like during the day, I'm not eating anything. Like legitimately, I'll eat like pretty much nothing the whole day. And I'll have like, I'll go to In-N-Out and I'll have like legitimately, I'll like pig out. I had like, this is obviously going over the calories a little bit, but like I have a protein salad burger, I'll have a regular burger, and I'll have fries, Okay, because I'm sorry, like, I can't get full from one burger. It's like a tease for me. Like, I don't want one burger. If I can't have one burger and fries, like, to me it's not enough. Like, I'm like disappointed. I need to have like an extra burger. Like, I'm just like a pig like that. I don't know what it is. Like, I can eat. Like, I want to eat. So I've done that a couple times and like I'm fine. I'm just like the next day I make sure to like do my whole lean cuisine and like really like keep it like on like try to go under 1,200 calories if I can. Like, it makes up for it, you know? It's all about low calories. I told you I can eat fucking 12 Oreos. I can eat 1,000 calories of Oreos or 1,000 calories of fucking broccoli, and it would be the same thing.
When it comes to weight, sure, a calorie is a calorie. But when it comes to health, the calorie count is not all that matters. Saturated fat clogs your arteries. Processed meat is a class 1 carcinogen. Skinny people die from cancer and heart disease. Skinny does not equal healthy, so shut the fuck up about fat people's health when you're lighting up cigarettes and promoting unhealthy, disordered eating habits. How did Blaire not see the irony in choosing this photo for the thumbnail? Amazing.
This person says, or Emma says, do you notice a trend amongst the people that hate you the most, and how do you shut it out?
Do I notice a trend about people who hate me the most, and how do I shut it out?
Yeah, like anything that like they all have in common. In common,
yeah. To be honest, they're always ugly and poor.
Yes.
And like they're usually fat. So they're just like jealous and they're miserable. And I've always told them, like, it's always the fat, ugly, and poor people who are just losers and they're jealous of you. So they have nothing else to do other than come on your page, waste their time because they're not focusing on themselves.
Yes.
They're not focusing on their weight, their bank account, or how ugly they are, which they should, but they don't. So they focus all on me, and that's the truth.
I 100% agree. Like, I literally, like, I don't think I've ever gotten a hate comment or had anyone make like a hate video from like a pretty person.
See, this is why I don't feel bad calling y'all vapid bitches.
Someone named Ralph wants to know, what are her thoughts on Andrew Tate? He seems like that's her type of man.
Yeah, I don't really know much about him. I just know that he's been shut down from everywhere. And that's like me too. Like, this is my 5th Instagram account. I get shut down on TikTok all the time.
Why do you get banned off Instagram so much?
The last one was because I took a picture of my new Glock and they shut me down for guns. And I saw you have like a picture of a, like, I always say there's a fat bitch at Instagram who works there who hates me. That's what it is. I'm 1,000% sure it's a fat ass. Totally.
Well, there's no way she's skinny.
She would never be. She's a fat ass bitch.
Exactly.
So people like are like, who's the one girl who would end Andrew Tate? And they like are saying it's me. But I've seen like some things he's talking about. I haven't looked at him enough, but the stuff I've heard him say, it's truth.
Right.
And I think, is that why he was shut down? Because he's speaking the truth? Like, I don't know.
You know what's so crazy about that is like, so I hear a lot about like how Andrew Tate is fucked up, but I never see like actual examples. You know what I mean? But it's kind of the same thing as like you and me. People are like, oh, Blaire White is this and this and this, and HRH is this and this and this. Like, can you give examples, or are you just trying to write someone off and be like a cancel culture little rat?
You want examples? Here are some examples.
You say a lot of stuff about women like that they're your property.
That's not what I said. I was talking about an OnlyFans company when that question was asked. But I said that if a woman is going out with a man, she belongs to that man. That's his woman. So if she wants to do OnlyFans, she owes him some money because she's his.
Well, that's crazy. That one's crazy.
So you think that a man going out with a girl, that's just your property?
She is his girl.
But what does that have to do with anything?
Because she's his.
So that is you saying that women are your property.
It's not about being property. It's about the fact that she belongs to him. And the intimate parts of her body belong to him because they're in a relationship. And if she wants to sell those, he has a stake in those intimate parts of her body.
So it's reverse. A male porn star owes the woman.
I don't know, because I think the women belong to the man. I think the woman is given
that's inherently where you get called sexist for.
This is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right fucking now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. I'll say this right here on the fucking internet. I don't give a shit. People will sit there and go, oh, you can't say that. Yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been more places, been fucked and dumped more times, more arguments, more heartbreak, more bullshit, more mess for me to clean up. Whereas a 19-year-old might have had one guy from high school, just broke up, she's fresh, and I can fucking put my imprint on her and make her a good person, and without her having to go through all that detriment to learn about life. If you get with a girl who's 26, 27, she's gonna be sitting there going, I know men like you, I've seen what men like you do, you ain't going out today.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I ain't dealing. So you're telling me, wait, you're telling me you were innocent and sweet for this dude. You were nice to him, he fucked you and messed you up, and now I deal with the attitude problem you've developed because he got your pussy? I didn't even want him to fuck you in the first place. You should have been a virgin when you met me. Now I'm dealing with your shit? Get fucked. Goodbye. When people say, why did you live in Romania? And I explain my 5 reasons. One of them is the Me Too era. They go, oh, well, you're a rapist. I say, no, I'm not a fucking rapist. But I like the idea of being able to just say, to do what I want. I like being free. And if you're a man living in England or Germany or America or any of the Western world right now, you've decided to live in a country where any woman, any ex, any fucking bitch who works at Greg's who you bought a pasty from, at some point in the future can destroy your life. This Me Too era bullshit has not protected women. It's just destroyed the safety of men.
It's always the most controversial takes that blow up, so I find it hard to believe that they haven't seen any of these clips, which leads me to conclude that they probably support at least some of these views. Big yikes. Blaire is playing dumb when she says that her critics never back up their claims about her. Sam Collins, D'Angelo Wallace, and Big Joel provide plenty of examples of her stupidity and intellectual dishonesty. She's pretending as if she's never seen these videos. 4.4 million views, 1.1 million views, nearly 1 million views. There's no way she hasn't seen these videos. And this is supremely ironic, coming from someone who makes inaccurate claims about people on the regular without backing them up, which is the substance of a lot of criticism against Blaire. I know for a fact that Blaire has seen Zinnia Jones' point-by-point response to one of her videos, because she responded to it, by ignoring her main arguments and making fun of her appearance. Classic. Well, that's the end of that. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Alright, peace out.
I hate that you can't see my damn jewelry with this fucking shirt on!
Yo, how when me eat them, I wonder when me eat. When me tell them, say me no eat no fish, no meat now. How when me eat them, I wonder when me yam. When me tell them, say that I'm a vegan, man. How when me eat them, I wonder when me eat.